Raoul Pal just came out and was interviewed. Should we pop the fireworks or should we go, ugh? Yes, that article or that video, as well as Prometheum, Aaron Kaplin came on with Laura Shin, but Laura Shin will never be the star of any show. It was the lawyer that she brought on to talk to Aaron Kaplin. Wow, we're gonna find out how uncomfortable Aaron Kaplin gets because the truth is coming out about him. And we need a little more proof that Ethereum and China connection is here. And now we're going to show it to you. Thank you, Jimmy Valley. Thank you, Digital Perspectives, Crypto Cowboy, all you Twitter sleuths. And wow, in the NFT world, what is happening with Elementals, with Azuki? We're going to have that conversation as well. Next on OG Crypto and NFTs, welcome everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over blockchain, we go over cryptocurrencies as well as non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Azuki is the man today. But before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. That subscribe button gets my energy. Every time you hit that subscribe button, you go, you see that little pop in me? And that's my energy coming, right? All right, let's jump right into it. Raoul Pal was, this is from Riz. Gary Gensler resign. I wonder what his position with Gary Gensler is. This is a little clip of an interview of what he thinks is coming. Raoul Pal, you know, ex-Goldman Sachs boy, ex-JP Morgan boy. I'm a lot of things I don't agree with him. He's a big maxi on ETH and a big maxi on Solana. I don't even understand what he's thinking. But with that being said, let's go listen to what he has to say, and then I'll comment on it afterwards. Should we pop the fireworks or not?
And I can forecast out what the business cycle looks like. And I also know the amount of interest payments that need to be made because they happened 3.5 years ago. And I can see how far the balance sheet's going to expand.
So he's talking about the Fed here, and he's saying that they're going to have to make interest payments on the $9 trillion that they're holding on their balance sheet. That's what he's talking about. So he's talking about the Fed and what he sees that they will do.
So the balance sheet right now is what, $6.5 trillion. And it looks like it will get $7 trillion or so. And it looks like it will get to 12 to $14 trillion by the end of 2025. So that puts, and there's a number of other ways I've proven this out in this whole thing. And I'll send you the whole piece myself, because I've not really gone public with all of the whole thing of how it works. But in the end, that puts asset prices massively higher than here, hugely higher.
So what is he saying? That the Fed will have to keep up with the interest payments, they're going to have to print or go, print more money, which they don't actually print money at this point, but they absolutely inject the economy with more money. Now, if you look traditionally, as we go through boom and down cycles, we're at a down cycle right now. And when the Fed typically stops raising rates, we see a momentarily boom in the stock market and the euphoria, and then we see a complete collapse, because what the Fed does, it happens 6 to 9 months later is when their real effect takes place. So with that being said, if we see that drop, that one moment where assets such as stock market, equities, as well as the crypto market will fall, we're going to see quantitative easing back in. And because it's going to be election year next year, and Joey B ain't going to be able to be anywhere on anyone's radar if he shows that the economy is in holy crap territory. Well, we're going to see the Fed go ahead and do quantitative easing next year. We're going to see the Fed lower rates, and they're going to go on that narrative that, hey, we've gotten everything back on track. See, we'll blame the orange guy, and now we got it back on track. We're the heroes, not the zero that he looks like right now. That's what Raoul Pal's talking about. And if we go, and he talked about only 6 trillion, maybe 7 trillion on the books. I think it's actually 9, because I don't think they've been able to take enough off the books. But he says that just to make interest payments on that money, that they're going to have to go and quantitative easing up to double, or at least 70-80% of what they have now, or even double that. And if they do that, they're going to inject so much more money in the economy, just like 2021 that got us into the crapper. They're going to inject it in, and we're going to see a huge bull run in 2024 that's going to roll right into 2025, which makes sense. You got the halving there in 24, in April of the end of April, beginning of May of 24. And then you're going to turn around, and the 4-year cycle typically peaks out in November of 2025. That is what he is looking at. That is extremely bullish news. Now, next article here is going to be with Laura Shin. So Aaron Kaplin, let's recap the Kaplin, right? He was with Promethean, and Promethean was no one even knew who they were, and for good reason. But he then turned around and testified in front of a financial committee saying that he was the only one actually that felt that Gensler was on the right side of the law, that whatever came out of his mouth was going to be the word on the street that people had to use. And so with two digital currencies as being a security or a commodity. Now, I was a little disappointed that Congress didn't ask him, what assets do you have, or what assets do you think that Gensler said was a commodity? But no one asked him that question, because that question would have pinned him in the corner of exactly what his business is. His business only makes money by buying, selling, and custodying some of these assets. That's all he makes money on. Forget the technology. It doesn't matter how good your technology is if you don't have any customers. So we're going to find out here why he said the things he said about Gensler. And Laura Shin, who I think is just, Bitcoin maxi, doesn't have anything really, intelligent to say. I mean, yeah, she's intelligent, but she doesn't have anything provocative. She doesn't like to stir things up. She wrote a book on Ethereum. She didn't have the guts to go and really put what she should have put in that book. And again, she's just a name that's been around because she got Bitcoin early and people respect her for it. But people around now don't have that same respect. So that's why he felt that Aaron Kaplin went on this program, because he wanted softball questions. She brings a lawyer on, and holy shnikes, Aaron Kaplin doesn't know how to deal with a lawyer when he's not scripted by Janet Yellen by the blue team that scripted him and asked him softball questions at that financial services. Rodrigo Seira, take it away.
The reason the SEC has basically said that almost every token besides for Bitcoin is a security is because it's an application of the law.
I think what you're referring to there are, Gensler's statements about this. And as I'm sure you know, and Laura's audience will know, Gensler's statements do not even speak formally for the SEC, and they definitely don't have the force of law, right?
But then you want to use those statements. You want to use the Hinman statements. You want to say the Hinman statements have the force of law, but the chairperson of the SEC's doesn't? It doesn't have a larger implication than what a head of corporate finance says? You're basically contradicting yourself, man.
I didn't bring up the Hinman statements at all, actually. And the one that's contradicting himself is Gensler. We've all listened to the videos where he argues that a lot of the tokens are not securities, and now he's turning around and saying that they are, right? And just to be clear, the law hasn't changed. It's just Gensler's political calculus that has changed. And I think if you drill down on the law, there's two important nuances that you need to understand. You can sell any asset in an investment contract transaction, and then that transaction or scheme is itself a security, right? That's going back to Howey, the seminal case interpreting investment contracts, where a court found that a promoter that was selling interest in an orange grove along with a services contract was issuing a security. But no one in their right mind would think that the orange plots were themselves securities, right? So I think the first step that you're missing, Aaron, is distinguishing between...
Well, as I continue this, look at Aaron Kaplan's demeanor talking to a lawyer that, of course, Aaron Kaplan's not. Watch his demeanor.
Investment contract and the ultimate object. In this
the instrument is the security.
In this case, the tokens, right? And I think
the tokens are the security.
The second point that you're missing, Aaron, is that there's zero precedent applying Howey to secondary market transactions, right? In the case of digital assets. If you go outside of digital assets, the only case to ever apply Howey to secondary markets is Hawking versus Du Bois, which is a case dealing with real estate. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one, but it's curious that the SEC in that case actually wrote an amicus brief arguing the diametrically opposed point that Aaron is making and that the SEC is now making, saying that basically in secondary market transactions where there's not an issue, the issuer is not a party to the transaction, there's no contract. So then there can be no investment contract, right?
So Rodrigo, we're not going to agree on the law because we just obviously
Because
have
you're
different
wrong.
interpretations.
Yeah. So-
Wait. But then what is the best way to protect the American public? How is the best way to protect investors?
I think the best way to protect American investors and also keep crypto in the US is to carefully consider the thoughtful legislation that has been introduced in the House and in the Senate, and that frankly, you're looking to distract from by claiming that we've solved this issue by saying that Prometheum is the path to compliance, when what you have, Aaron, is a license, but you don't have a business.
Boom! Boom! What he's basically saying is that you're backing Gensler up and he's making decisions what's a security and what's a commodity. But Mr. Kaplin, Aaron Kaplin, you have nothing on your platform. Zero. You have a license and you have nothing. So if you're telling us that Gensler is telling you that is directing the market what is actually a security and what's a commodity, yet you have nothing on your platform. You've been around for over 5 years. You're a technology company with no clients, yet you stood in front of Congress and you said that Gary Gensler was leading the way. What is he leading the way for your company? Zero. You're not profitable, but you keep getting money from where? China and Wang Xing. That's all you keep doing is gathering more money. So it just makes Gary Gensler a complete connection back to China through your company that's making zero money right now in a big crypto market. Makes 0 sense. What he says is you have a license. That's what the lawyer, Rodrigo Seira, said. You have a license, but you do not have a business. Okay? Well, for political reasons, you have a license. The connection to China, you have a license, but nobody puts anything on your platform because you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Unless there's going to be laws changed, that's what he said. This is such a strong statement by Rodrigo Seira about Aaron Kaplin. And now we're realizing, well, since Aaron Kaplin's in front of Congress, now his appearances and laughter about how bad the crypto industry is, he's just going to get hammered and he's not going to be on any more of these programs because he just looks bad. He looks bad. Anybody, him and Joe Lubin, look terrible when they're telling you how good Gary Gensler is, yet he's the one that's actually holding us back. All right, guys, let's jump into the next one. Where is the connection from China into Ethereum? Now, we all know that Wang Xing, who's backing Prometheum, well, let's go keep going with that whole thing, right? Here we go again. Vitalik, this is 9/27/15. Vitalik Buterin announces Wang Xing purchase of 416,000 ETH for $500,000, $1.20 per ETH, and 500 million venture capital commitment, all with the emphasis on Ethereum development. Guys, this is obvious. Is there connections into China that's going out, that goes throughout the cryptocurrency? Absolutely, there is. And if you look at the Chinese is the biggest manipulators. At the same time that this company, Wang Xing, who was being honored by the Communist Chinese Party, right, the CCP, okay, for all their good work, is also the ones that continue to pour money into crypto because they know where it's at. Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you this. I feel that Ethereum is not going to be the winner here. The Ethereum virtual network will be, but Ethereum will not be. It's not a fast transaction. It's not secure, and it's not inexpensive. It's 0 for 0 for 0. The layer 2s on top of it might have a lot more, let's call it success, but Ethereum itself is going to be kind of that speculative coin that either is going to be adopted by major institutions to hold, but not to transact with. There's a difference, like Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Lightning Network is a complete cluster, right? You have 400,000 still transactions that are stuck. You spent Bitcoin to have the transactions go through. Whoever wants to pay the biggest price is the one that gets it. The last time we looked, it was $3 to $4 to actually do a Bitcoin transaction, and was closing on 30 on Ethereum, where you can go to Hedera at the XRPL. We're looking at fractions of pennies and pennies. Matic, pennies. Cardano, pennies. How is anyone in this world wanting to pay 25 to 30 bucks on Ethereum? Doesn't make any sense. They can't keep upgrades in a timely manner. We're looking at so many more networks that are just rolling right past Ethereum. And the only thing that people go to Ethereum is because they heard it first, just like Bitcoin. It's just a first noise mover, right? That's what it is. And then when you get into the space, you realize that's all it is noise. Let's get into coins that actually make sense, that will be real world utility coins that are gonna disrupt this world. We're not seeing disruption from Ethereum. We're just seeing noise from Ethereum. All right, so jump into the hottest NFTs going on right now. Let's bring on producer Emi. Emi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, I was writing down time code.
Okay,
Hi.
she's a time coder.
Yeah.
Not quite sure what that means, but we're gonna take it.
And so they have chapter markers.
Chapter markers. Okay, that's why she gets paid the big bucks and I do this for free. All right, Azuki Elementals, we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
Is, hey.
You mind?
I'm kidding with her. Bubble Boy, she's calling me now. Okay, so Azuki has a side, or they added on to their community and onto their NFTs called Elementals. They had an NFT drop. They're supposed to have 20,000 of these. I think the first 10,000 were the people that actually owned Azukis, and fucking gone in seconds, right? 15 minutes, 38 million bucks. I wonder if they could do anything with 38 million bucks.
Dude, I'm sure this is interesting. I was reading somewhere, I believe it was yesterday when we first talked about that the drop was going to be happening, that they were thinking of it as like 4 different universes or worlds attached to like the original concept. I'm shocked that this raised so much money and was sold out in like 15 minutes. That's absolutely wild.
Dutch auction. Started at 2 Ethereum, got all sucked up. 2 Ethereum. Can you imagine, again, on the worst chain, what was the gas fees on this? I'm sure gas fees went to $100. Easily. For 15 minutes, they were $100+ and then you had to pay extra to get, yours up front, because if it stalled out on a Dutch auction, means that at certain points it keeps going down.
Okay.
So it starts off at 2, and then it depends on how if volume keeps coming in. They keep it at 2 until it dies off, and they'll lower it to 1.8, and then the volume will be there, and it just dies off as it goes down. Wow. So it said it was holders of Azuki NFTs and spin-off Beans NFTs were given an exclusive 10-minute window to purchase Elementals NFTs before the public sale this morning. So the public sale is another 10,000. So what they want to do is they wanted to have like a minimum where it's going to be. So I believe they're going to come out with 2 ETH as it being, unless they're going to go back to a Dutch auction. And because these were a pre-sale, meaning that these people had it before the actual public sale, you're hoping that Azuki, who sold these out in just literally 15 minutes, I'd bump the price at 3 ETH.
Honestly, I think 2 ETH is a steal, considering we've been watching Azuki for over a year, and I want to say they've never gone under. They've always been around 10-ish.
They went down to 8 at one point.
They've never gone like under 5. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, Azuki's never like completely slid off the chart.
Right. It's the premier Asian art.
Well, because like on our blue chip, right? If you guys haven't seen our blue chip roundup, every Friday we go over where
on TikTok,
where the blue chip is for the week. It's also here on YouTube Shorts. And obviously the market's been like taking a shit and just like dumping for a while. But the 3 that have like semi-held their position is always going to be Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, Azuki.
Yeah,
always.
If you look at just over the year that we've been doing it, we definitely CryptoPunks are just in that same vein as Bored Apes and Mutants. But we've seen the float down because of ordinals come in, they're burning it off in ordinals, and we've seen them float down in the 30s When we first started, they were in their 70s and 80s and 90s, so we've seen it cut.
If you guys want CryptoPunks added to the blue chip roundup instead of one of the ones that are sliding off the chart, drop a comment below.
And it's tough because they have a different way they sell theirs. That's why you don't really see it.
It's not on OpenSea?
Right, it's not. It's not. So that's why it's harder to deal with CryptoPunks. But either way, all the Ethereum is because of Ethereum itself, and the chain is just clunky and not good. You know, we're just seeing them slide off while we're seeing other chains really kind of pump up. You know, if you look at Hedera, some of their stuff on there, XRP, oh my gosh, we're seeing stuff explode on that chain. And again, because you're transacting in pennies, so you're really just paying for what the NFT's worth. But here, Azuki's so strong that they're getting max dollars out of this.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm really curious to see what they're going to continue to do, because of all the collections. I feel like they've done a lot to keep themselves relevant and hot and like in people's forefront. You know, people who are actually interested in NFTs. I feel like they've done a lot to keep themselves not only making headlines like this, but to keep themselves in the forefront of people's minds. Now, speaking of forefront of people's minds, United States Secret Service reveals their NFT collection on OpenSea.
Explore the United States Secret Service NFT collection on OpenSea and their commitment to crypto education and engagement. Well, isn't NFTs by the SEC considered a security?
Yeah, this is really interesting that they're going to call specific things securities when it doesn't benefit them.
Exactly. Well, we just heard it, right?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I would buy anything that looks like this.
Come on!
Honestly, you know what this looks like? This looks like Men in Black made an NFT collection.
But they're not quite black. They're men in gray.
This totally looks like... Why does he have, like, a sheriff star? I don't know, dude. This is wild. This is super wild.
Well, I mean, we really should put some time into this, because when you look at it, everyone will just say what they can to win. And then, you know, to sell a collection and make money. And then all of a sudden it'll say, it'll turn its name, instead of it says United States, it'll say United Slates. Something stupid like that. But for sure, it's just interesting. Everybody's putting out, you know, anything they can to make money. And I don't know, it's just interesting.
I don't know. I think it's crazy that the government's been like, NFTs are dumb, crypto's a scam, but like, oh wait, we're gonna buy a bunch of NFTs and now we're gonna buy a bunch of crypto and now here's an NFT collection from us. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us today. Crypto is, again, a roller coaster, and every day we see different things going on. So every day seems to be an adventure.
Super adventure.
You take care, and we will see you tomorrow.